Hello, awesome people, and welcome. Cambell here from Spiral Up, and today we're having another chat with Inara. Today we're going to get into parasites and a few other interesting bits, and there will probably be a longer extended version of this chat on Odyssey, as YouTube won't allow some of the things that we want to talk about, but we'll get into it. So Inara, welcome. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good to see your smiling face again. Happy 4th of July and all that for a few days ago. So today we are talking about parasites. Let's just say that, and we'll get into the story. Yeah.
Spiritual and physical. That was just kind of a connection I made recently, you know, because we are always talking about the parasite, or, you know, whatever dark forces that are controlling our reality right now, you know, and people have different names for them, archons or demons or dark entities, you know, whatever you want to call them. There's something out there that's trying to control our reality. So, and it occurred to me that they're maybe doing this through actual physical parasites. And I've got 5 kids from Haiti, and so I thought I knew everything there was to know about parasites because, you know, they came home loaded and I had to deal with them, and, you know, but then I thought, well, once we take care of that, we're done, right? And I didn't really think about it for a while. But then information just keeps showing up, and I need to shout out to Sonia because she posted a PDF under one of her videos a while back that connected a lot of these dots for me. So thank you, Sonia, over at Tree of Knowledge. And I'll send you the link to that if you want to post it, if other people want to read it.
Yeah, I'll put it below. Yep.
But anyhow, I got to thinking, all of the animals that we interact with, cats, the dogs, horses, cows, pigs, you know, they're all on a regular parasite treatment schedule. But humans aren't. We don't even think about that, you know. I mean, yeah, you got to go deworm your dog every so often, you know, to make sure he doesn't get sick, and, you know, but we don't think about that usually. And the only mammal that can't produce its own vitamin C is a human. And which is odd, you know, kind of makes you think, were we designed that way, you know? and you know, because vitamin C is like the super vitamin. It helps all your other vitamins work. It fights infections. It, you know, it breaks down and helps, and your body produces hydrogen peroxide. That's how it functions in the body. And you know, if you don't have it, you have all sorts of problems, physical problems, mental problems, you know, everything breaks down. And then when I learned that consuming alcohol inhibits your absorption of vitamin C, then that just sort of triggered something, and I went down this path. And when you think, this ties into all the old world architecture and stuff, you know, besides the churches, what are the other 2 buildings that they turned all the giant, beautiful old world architecture buildings into? Well, it was insane asylums, or it was breweries. Every like metropolitan area had its own brewery. I looked it up, and in 1900 there were 2,000 breweries in the United States. In 1900. It's like, why would that be? You know. And did you ever see the movie Strange Brew? It was from way back in the early 80s with Bob and Doug McKenzie, a couple of Canadian guys, comedians. Goofy movie, just a B movie. But, you know, like they do, this movie is it's filmed in Toronto, and it's got a castle, which there actually is a castle in Toronto. It's called Casa Loma, I think. Beautiful, man. Jaw dropper if you've never seen it. But they had a castle, and then they had an insane asylum and a brewery, all connected by underground tunnels. And the story of the main plot was Max von Sydow played the bad guy who was trying to take over the world. And he was putting something into the beer to get people addicted to it. And then once they were all addicted to it, he would play certain musical tones that would cause them to attack each other.
Wow.
So putting something in people's bodies that they're addicted to that causes them to be controllable and react by playing a certain frequency.
Yeah, that's a bit close to home, isn't it?
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about that movie in forever because it's just a silly nothing movie, but there it is. And so, anyhow, back to the parasites. Parasites love a few different things. They're anaerobic, so they don't like oxygen. They like an acidic environment, so low pH, and they love sugar. They pretty much eat sugar. That's what they want, is carbs and sugar. And so, they've structured society in such a way where what do we all want? Sugar or alcohol, which is metabolized like sugar.
Mm.
And
or these staple, what we call as staple foods are all like carbohydrates, rice, bread,
right.
pasta,
anything that comes in a box from the grocery store, is
which
pretty
is
much
basically complex sugar. Yeah.
Right. And they're also acidic. They make your body acidic. So they serve a couple different purposes, And also, what do they package soda and beer in normally? Aluminum cans. And since they're acidic, they do leach the aluminum from the can.
Oh, God. It's Alzheimer's, doesn't it? Is that right? Alzheimer's? Aluminum?
Right. Yeah, well, and all sorts of other things. Yeah, but definitely gets into your brain. And autism is all. They also connect with aluminum, but heavy metals are just bad all around for the body, right? But parasites seem to love them. They can gobble them up. They can handle orders of magnitude more heavy metals than humans can tolerate, so they're not quite sure how that works. They just know that aluminum and other heavy metals cause a proliferation of parasites in the body. So of course they're trying to get those in us every way possible, right? They spray them from the sky, and so we breathe them, then it lands on our food, so we eat them, and and then they stab us in the arm with them, and so they're just getting them in there any way they can. And another thing that's in the injections is polysorbate 80, which is also affects the blood-brain barrier, so it weakens it and gives whatever wants to get in there access to your brain, right? Yeah. So and there are all sorts of, this has been proven over and over in like the animal world, that there are parasites of all different forms, fungus or bacteria, worms, different things that will purposely land on a host and basically lobotomize it. They can take over the brain. Have you seen any of those videos?
I've seen the ants where they get into the ants and they make them climb up on grass, and then so that the cows eat them, and then they get into the cow.
Right. Yeah. Or there's a what is it? It's a wasp that lays an egg on a spider, and when it turns into a larva, then it takes over the brain of the spider and makes it build this crazy thick web that it would never build any other time, that's protective. Then it kills the spider, and then it can safely live in the web until it's matured, right? And it's not just bugs, it's sort of all levels of the animal kingdom have this happen. They're talking about zombie deer now. Have you heard about the zombie deer and elk? And there's a parasite that can get into deer, and they get really sick, they quit eating, and they act all weird and aggressive, especially right before the host dies. but the goal of the parasite is reproduction, right? So if it has to die or kill the host in order to make that happen, then that's what happens. So, which made me think of the Bible story about the pigs that run off the cliff. Do you know that one?
No.
Yeah, there are these in the Bible. It's kind of coded, right? So demons could fit the definition of a parasite, and they cast these demons out of person or people into a herd of pigs, and the herd of pigs immediately ran off a cliff into the water, into the sea. And I always thought, well, that's just the weirdest story. Well, never, and then I could never figure it out. But now it makes total sense, right? Because if all the pigs run off the cliff and die, then it contaminates the water supply and reproduces the parasites, because everybody's drinking the water, and the little fish in the water are eating the dead pigs, and
wow.
Yeah.
God.
Kind of crazy.
See, I mean, doesn't that go against like the whole theory of evolution that a larva of a wasp can somehow have built within it the intelligence that it has to control this spider and build a house with it? I mean, where does that come from? I mean,
right. I know, it's where does it come from?
That's proof for a bigger intelligence, really, isn't it? That we're all hooked into some. Wow, that's just ridiculous. I thought the ant story was good, but that one's better.
Well, and cats, I have cats. You got a kitty cat. Yeah. And there's a parasite that's really common. A lot of people, you probably have it. I have it. It just doesn't affect you if you have a healthy immune system, but called toxoplasma. And that's why they tell pregnant women not to empty the litter boxes of their cats when pregnant, because it's so easily transmissible. But what toxoplasma does is it can only reproduce in the digestive system of a cat. And so it tries to bounce around through other creatures to get back into a cat. And they tested it, and on in mice that were infected with the toxoplasma, normally if they would smell cat urine, they would, run the other way. Oh no, there's a cat over here, right? Well, it disabled that whole system and made them unafraid of the cat. They would just run right out in front of the cat. And then of course the cat would eat them, and voila, the parasite's where it wants to be. So they have all these amazing, strategies. They're really intelligent.
Yeah,
and
intelligent. Wow.
A little bit scary.
God, it is a bit scary. It's do you think they're like a hive mind? Like, do they get more intelligent the more of them there are?
I'm not sure if it's, if there's more, if it's, or if there's a central mind that's, instigating all of this. But it definitely does act like that.
Like a hive. Yeah, like they're getting signals, from a base somewhere. God. Right.
Yeah, a queen.
That's right. Have you heard of Don Tolman?
I feel like I have, but I can't remember why.
He's like a natural health guy, cowboy, red hat. I'll leave a link below. I've got one of his books, and he goes right into. The language is a bit. He goes right into parasites. I'll have to get out and read it again.
Okay.
And literally, he talks about them as they're the pretty much like devils or something invading bodies and all, and he gets right into sort of how all the negative energy, and I have to have a read of that, because he does it from a perspective of that's what Jesus was saying. He was actually talking more about, look, cleanse your body, get rid of all this stuff. That's the problem. And he's saying, but it's been, the message has been all changed, just smile and be nice at people. But he was actually trying to do, physical things. He was trying to tell you, take these actions, like these physical actions. Don't sit there and just wait and hope and pray to God. It's like, do something and fix it.
No, there are definitely physical things you can do. you know, because they're doing physical things, you know, I mean,
Well,
these are physical creatures.
Yeah, well, it's like that saying, you know, some people are so heavenly minded that they're no earthly good. You know, it's like
Yeah.
if your mind's always there, then you're not actually helping anyone. You know, you can walk around and say, oh, but I'm all about peace and love and that. But if you're not affecting anyone in a good way, are you really? You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you know, all this stuff, just like any disease, can be cured at the quantum level. But, you know, the only way out is in. But
Yeah.
since I am nowhere near a master at that yet, you know, I think it's good to have some physical, practical things that you can do to kind of nudge your body and yourself in the right direction. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of spirals and helps you, you know, because once you start feeling cleaner and clearer, then
Yeah.
you'd be more able to access, you know, quantum level things.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Oh, hang on one sec. You're done? Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Ah.
All right. So, other ways they get these buggers into us. There's more. You know, because it can be transmitted through saliva and all bodily fluids, right, or excretions. And you know, and that was the idea behind "You May Now Kiss the Bride" at a wedding. Is you weren't supposed to have done that yet, because I think they had an understanding of this.
Okay.
And so then if you are clean and your spouse was as well, then you wouldn't be spreading anything between you if you hadn't exchanged any fluids before the wedding.
To engagement as well. That's why there's a period of time before the marriage where they're sort of making sure that one's not infected or something. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, they're just trying to compromise our immune system every way they can. So they, you know, they put fluoride in the water, they put glyphosate sprayed on the food, they spray it right before harvest.
Yep.
And, you know, and that just damages your intestinal tract and makes it unable to absorb nutrients. You know, and then they remove or ban things that could help you, you know. So there things like fenbendazole or ivermectin, which are still allowed to be used for animal parasite treatments. They used to use them for humans. They still do in the third world, you know, whose cancer rates are much lower despite their poor nutrition than, you know, other first world people.
Yeah.
You know, but you can use them if you know. You just, you know, like anything, you need to be careful and read up on it before you try anything, of course, you know.
Yeah,
but
I've got heaps of things that I'm not supposed to, that they tell me is going to kill me. I'm all over the place.
Right.
Like what about borax? You know? They tell you, no, sorry, that's just for cleaning. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Good for cleaning
As
your
a
body.
matter of fact, I have a list. We'll get to my show and tell in a minute, but yes, I have my borax right here. And apparently, I mean, it's still in America, it's still super cheap. It's, you know, just a few dollars. But I've heard it in Europe and stuff. Is it really expensive, or they can't even find it? They've taken it off the shelves.
Really?
I've heard that, but I don't know if it's true or not. It's kind of hearsay, but
because it can't be hard to get. It's just because it's just an element. That's the thing, and they call it borax, but it's actually not. It's I'm not sure what it is. Carbon something or other.
It's and you know, in a big quart jug, but put about a half a teaspoon in here with some, and fill the rest with water and shake it up and just take a swig every now and then. You know.
Yep, that's what I do. It's empty at the moment, but.
And that's the one thing, actually, since we're on the borax topic, that you can use that they found is effective, because they haven't found anything else, as far as I know, that will affect the nanotechnology.
Yes.
But this is the one thing that they, you know, seem to really work, and it's super cheap.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, so this is not medical advice, people, or YouTube, where just things, do your own research, make your own decisions. But there is definitely a narrative that's saying that this may help against some people who may be spiking, shall we say? Are we allowed to say that, YouTube?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be, safe and pick my words carefully. But yeah, did you ever see the movie Big Hero 6? This was one of the characters. My son got me this mug and I just love it. But that's all about, it's a Disney movie, but it's about nanobots. And one goes, and that shows how they can control them. They make different shapes. They can turn into like moving things. And one little nanobot gets separated from the others, and all it wants to do is get back. It's like pounding on its little case it's in, and so that's showing you that they do communicate. And this is one of the things that the borax is supposed to do, is disable their ability to come together in your body and create something even more
structure of some kind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, guys. So borax it up.
Yeah, and fair warning, most people have used it for laundry soap and it kind of tastes like laundry soap, but
yeah,
that's okay.
That taste, doesn't it? You get used to it pretty quick though.
Not that bad. Just at first it's just a little bit, but it's really not bad.
No.
Then frequencies. Wi-Fi, they found when they exposed parasites to just, the normal level of Wi-Fi, they produced up to 600 times more mycotoxins, which is the poisons that they excrete into your system.
What?
So that does definitely have a part to play. Frequency obviously is going to be a part of this, and we're not sure all the ways it works, but it does make them leach more poisons into your bloodstream. So the more you can get away from it, I don't sleep with my phone anywhere near me anymore. And, just little things, little changes like that can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Because
it's the thing that it doesn't have to be that frequency, does it? They can send the internet or whatever on any frequency, really. So
right.
why have they chosen that one that they know is?
Well, yeah, and those millimeter waves affect your hemoglobin. They cause, I think the way it works is they make the molecule spin backwards, and so the hemoglobin is not able to pull oxygen from the air, which is why people were presenting as though they had altitude sickness and they were just passing out all of a sudden. They were calling it respiratory, but it really wasn't. It was an oxygen problem.
Yeah, yeah, respiration at the cellular level, like not breathing. Yeah,
like you literally can't grab the oxygen, and so I have one of these little doohickeys called a pulse oximeter, that they stick your finger in when you go to the doctor. And so that's just a good way to kind of keep track of your oxygen level, and if you're feeling a little short of breath or something, just to know where you're at.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And definitely breathing helps, just like, breathe 5-10 minutes, a few sessions a day, whichever way you want to go. There's lots of different sort of methods out there. But what I find, for me, one of the best ones is actually emptying your lungs right out. Like, we never do this, like actually breathing out until there's no air left, and then sitting there for a minute and then breathing in, because that bottom bit of air, it just sort of sits there and it gets filled with all the toxins and that, and we never,
that makes sense.
As a society, we're shallow breathers, so we need to breathe it right out and then breathe fresh air back in, and you only have to do it maybe 3 times, and it just replenishes, so that the air that's sitting in your body as the reservoir is fresh. If you do that sort of once or twice a day, to do with parasites, it gets out that environment that they can grow in, basically.
Right. Because they don't want the oxygen. They want it out of there.
Yeah, they sit down there and try and escape it, but you just...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spent most of my life, I guess I didn't know how to breathe. I mean, it was just a few years ago that I realized that I was only breathing about this far down. You know, the idea of like my whole belly puffing up when I was taking a breath.
Yeah, right. So,
that's how you're supposed to do it.
I've got a diaphragm. What's that?
Right. What is that? Yeah. And that's, you know, that's related to things like that's your fight or flight response creates a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't realize you're doing it. But I would catch myself holding my breath like for no reason. And so, you know, you have to be conscious to change it for a while. You know, it has to be deliberate, but then it gets easier.
And then, it just takes over as an automatic, thing. And it also helps you get out of, like you say, like this shallow breathing is responsive. It helps you get out of that and into a thinking, because and it calms you down. You're just more level. You're not sort of reacting, because it literally changes your state. That's what it's there for, fight or flight, and it's only really supposed to be activated when there's something in front of you that you can run away from, or
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things they've done to us too is, they start from when we were little, just traumatizing us, and so that encourages that fight or flight state.
Yeah, well, the imagined fight or flight state, isn't it? It's the whole fear thing. It's it's like the vaccine. A few people have said, the vaccine coming to get us, and I'm like, well, they're not. Until someone's at your door trying to kick it in, or they're holding you down, they're not trying to do that to you. So if you believe that, then you're living in this imagined reality that you can't change, and you're in fight or flight. So you're building a toxic environment. You're just helping them.
Right.
Don't buy into
it. And all movies and TV shows are, everybody likes the suspense movies or the scary movies, or it just feeds that, keeps it going where they want it. And another thing I learned all about was tattoos, and you don't want to know what's in tattooing.
I'm a clean skin, but
I am too, but every once in a while I think, oh, what if I got a little tiny one somewhere?
I've definitely contemplated it, but
but they're wow, they're and the prettier they are, the prettier the colors, the worse they probably are for you.
Well, I was watching. Have you heard of Salty Cracker?
I think I've heard you mention him.
Yeah, he's great. You've got to check him out. I love him. But he was talking about all these people who have pink and blue hair and run around making lots of noise, and he just said, "Look, guys, if you're in the forest and you see something that color, run because it's poison." That's so true.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The frogs or the mushrooms or
Exactly. So it's
true.
It's on our face.
But they're full of heavy metals. They're full of plastics, antifreeze, formaldehyde, and that's your body's largest organ, especially for detoxification, and if you're clogging it up, then, and you could have who knows what kind of allergic reactions or, and then they've found tattoo pigments in lymph nodes, so they know that your body tries to get rid of them.
Well, this is the question. If we have a new body every 7 years, how do tattoos stay?
That's true. I don't know how deep.
I wondered that, because literally you've got a whole new physical body every 7 years. All the cells are new. How's it transferring that pigment across?
Yeah, that's a good question. How that works, because you would think then that unless I don't know.
You would think it would fade unless it's some kind of body defense system, if they sort of isolate the cells or something maybe and create a membrane so that it can't leach. I don't know. But
maybe.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know why that doesn't happen. But
yeah. And another question with the heavy metal, right? Heavy metals, heavy metal music, the frequency. Is there a correlation there? Do we know? I don't
know, but I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, all the music now is tuned away from 432 or wherever it's supposed to be. So, and the heavier music, you know, with a lot of bass and drums, that's lower body music.
It
you know.
is. It
And
is.
so, you know, so there's something going on there.
And all the distortion and everything they use, and it's not clean music. It's definitely, it's like when you look at you know, the water molecules. You know, you could imagine.
Right.
I think they actually show one of heavy metal music, and
They
it's
did,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, and you can kind of imagine that that's what it would look like, because it's just like this. Where then you can imagine, you know, offer or something would be like this clean crystal sort of, you know, like this clean note. So yeah, I've been worried about heavy metal for a while. I mean, I used to get into it, and so did, you know, my boy's a guitarist and all that, but
Yeah, I've got
I
musicians.
do worry about it, you know. Yeah. Your boy's right into it too,
You
isn't he?
know, and my oldest, he would say, well, but mom, you don't understand, you know, for some people that, you know, that just sort of pounding music is cathartic. It helps people get stuff out of their bodies, like, you know, when they're in the mosh pit and stuff just going crazy, you know, it helps them because that's a way that's comfortable for them to get rid of some of those maybe stored emotions or, you know,
I'd
things
agree
that are
with that,
kept up in the body.
because that's the vibration they know.
Right.
You know, you can't go and grab a heavy metal dude and say, "Come on, we're going to go meditate for 3 days." He'll be like, "Dude,
Right.
you know, it's not going to work."
Right. Yeah. Their body will just rebel because
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
So you've got to work within those things. So yeah, no, just be careful of the band, because some of those bands, you see them and the music starts and you just like, you just feel it like, oh God, go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I got to that point too, you know, and where I just couldn't listen to it anymore. You know, I could when I was younger, but
there's like Metallica, which is heavy, but that's different to some of these guys who come out and they're all dressed up as cloaks and stuff, and they're like, "Roar."
yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
right
and
in
there's
front of our face, you know. They're trying to. I mean, these dudes they dress up as devils and things on stage and try and say, "Look how cool it is." You know, it's all fire and brimstone and horns and.
yeah, and are they being controlled? I mean, a lot of the big celebrities have said so. They're like, yeah, I'm a totally different, something takes me over and I become
Yeah.
something completely different on stage.
Yeah. Like Beyonce becomes what, Sasha Fierce, and I think a lot of them
Right.
they actually have names for these personas that come out, which is pretty freaky. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they kind of tell us, right?
So let's talk about cancer for a minute and other diseases. Because it kind of looks like they've taken the whole parasite phenomenon and called it a few other things to get us confused and, you know, distract us from what's really happening. But cancer and parasites have a 4-stage life cycle and a stage of remission. And so there's a similarity there. And I think there are a lot of behavioral or symptoms that manifest in autism and the explosion of cluster B personality disorders, narcissism, borderline personality disorder, things like that, that all seem to tie back to things that parasites can do to you. You know, so I'm wondering if they're not all, even cancer, because there was a guy, I saw a news story of a guy from Oklahoma who he had stage 4 cancer. They weren't even going to treat him. They said, sorry, man, you're going to die in 3 months, get your stuff together. And, you know, it was all over his whole body. And he had a veterinarian friend who said, hey, just try this. And he gave him some fenbendazole and took it every day. And in 3 months, his cancer was gone and he didn't do anything else. So, yeah.
I mean, you've got to ask the question, you know, how does cancer keep expanding? You know, it used to be cancer. Now, how many cancers are there? There's bloody cancer for everything. So it's almost like you say, it's almost like, oh, here's a new symptom. Oh, we'll just call it cancer of the left nasal passage. There you go. You know, it's because it's clearly not a thing. And if it is, they don't know what it is. You know, it's just this random cancer thing. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
And all
and
it comes down to
the
is
cash cow. So
crabs, right? Crab claws, and that's where it comes from. Yeah, what is it? It's like some molecule or something that looks like a crab claw is where they get the name
is
cancer
that
from,
what it's
apparently.
okay?
That's what I've
Yeah,
heard.
I
But I
never really
mean,
thought about why they named it that. Yeah.
yeah, it's something to do with the crab. But yeah, I mean, yeah. And how long have we been fighting cancer? The war on cancer?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
it just keeps increasing and getting bigger.
Well, and again, they don't tell you all the things. They don't tell you to stop eating sugar and carbs and, anything like that that might actually cure
Mm.
you. They won't give you high doses of vitamin C, even though they've proven that that can kill cancer. And it also behaves like an STD. They did a study of older women where they compared women who only had one partner for their whole life and ones who had 10 or more.
Oh.
The ones who had 10 or more over their whole lifetime, not just they had a 90% higher rate of cancer.
Oh, gee. I wonder if that's linked back to what you said last time about, the DNA accumulation.
Maybe.
Is that causing, confusion within the body, if you know what I mean, like that giving it that confusion kind of environment that's probably acidic. It's not harmony, is it? So it's
right.
Could be in it. Wow,
right. Yeah.
This is the thing, right? This is all the old books pretty much talk about, have one partner and a family and that's it. And then all of modern culture is, stuff that, just go out and. But when you look into it, there was a reason for that. And it wasn't, it was more than just, mental or attractive or whatever, or building a family. It was actually based on physical things to keep the community and the society healthy and going forward.
Right.
And,
right.
Yeah.
And now, there's a reason that they push promiscuity so much, because if the parasite wants to spread, well, that's how it's going to do it, so they're going to promote that. And especially in the rainbow community, they have much, much higher, especially the males, much, much higher rates of throat and colon cancer because they tend to put body parts together that other people don't.
Yes.
And that's what happens, and
so that's kind of a sign from nature, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're judging or anything, but we're just talking about, physical things that do happen.
Well, and that community is not aware of this. They don't tell them that.
It's also it's not a traditionally monogamous community,
right.
shall we say?
Right. They're all, goes the pushing the multiple partners thing again is, and that's what the parasite's going to want to do. That will, once you get them in you, it's going to make you want to do that.
Yeah, and so this is the thing, isn't it? So we talk about parasites that take over spiders and build their house, and then they take over mice because they need to get back into cats. So it's all this thing about an intelligence, and it's trying to infect or get into a environment where it can replicate. And I mean, if we extrapolate that out to what's happening, and of course we call them the parasites, look what they're promoting. They are promoting things that will help a parasite grow.
Right.
Clearly, it's right there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just when you look at it all, it just becomes obvious. And then back to the cancer thing. The reason I think they might be actually parasites is parasites will consume sugars, and what that does is depletes the surrounding cells of oxygen, and that causes those cells to go into a rapid replication. And rapid uncontrolled cell replication, that's tumors.
Exactly. I was going to say that's what they call cancer.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, the tumors secrete a substance called nagalase. So I thought the naga was funny. Nagalase, yes, it's an enzyme or it's some kind of substance, And what it does is it cloaks the tumor so that the immune system can't find it.
Okay.
And so then it can grow, and it's crazy. And it also suppresses the immune system at the same time.
And
so
of course, if it's a parasite a parasite's not a parasite. Obviously, it's a lot of parasites in your body, right? You get infected.
Right.
So if they go in and cut that tumor out, they're not doing anything.
That's why it spreads. Yeah.
Exactly. All they're going to do is help give it more access to spread throughout that body, and maybe it'll spread through the tumor if that gets eaten by something else. It's.
And also remember, it's got four stages of life cycle. So they may cut out the active replicating tumor parasite, version, but they're still dormant cysts that can hide within the cells to be activated later when maybe exposed to more aluminum, or there's some trigger from the environment that causes them to come out of cyst stage and go into larval stage and start replicating, and and so what do we do? Don't worry, I have a list.
Alkaline our body.
Yes. Yeah. I'll start off with, because not everybody has the means or wants to spend money on trying to combat this stuff, but there's a lot of free and low expensive, like the borax, that you can use. And the most important one is fasting. And fasting and any of these things that I'm going to mention will be most effective around the full moon. So a couple days before, a couple days after the full moon, because my theory now is the reason people are crazy at the full moon is because that's when the parasites are activated to come out and do. And so that would make you anxious and jittery and aggressive, and all the things that are associated with lunacy, right?
Humans, turning into wolves,
right.
howling at the moon. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, if you can do a water fast on the full moon, or at least, if water fasting is just too much, try to intermittent fast, keep your eating window down to maybe 5 or 6 hours a day. And that's a huge thing. And also like the keto diet is great because that eliminates all the carbs. It's a little hard to do if you're a vegetarian because you can't have any bread or pasta or fruit, except maybe berries are low glycemic. But other than that, no fruit because that's too sugary. And potatoes because the starch is sugar.
Yeah.
And but whatever, anything like that you can do will help.
Well, that's where we get the word breakfast.
Yeah, break the fast.
Break the fast. It comes from the Essenes, and they used to intermittent fast every day. They'd only eat from when the sun was highest in the sky to when it was on the horizon. So basically from 12 in the afternoon till nighttime and then they'd fast and they wouldn't eat again. So.
And a lot of religious traditions actually still, they used to. I don't know how many do anymore, but I know Eastern Orthodox Christians fast for about a third of the year.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my last, as my tour of Christianity came to an end. My last stop was Eastern Orthodoxy because that was the most traditional.
And
they don't eat any meat, dairy, or eggs for the 40 days before Pascha and a long fast before Christmas, and multiple other times throughout the year. And
it's actually in the Bible, but when was the last time you heard anyone in the church promoting fasting? And it's in the Bible. Jesus goes and fasts in the desert for 40 days. And it's in history, like with the Great Pyramids and the old schools, you couldn't go in unless you went and fasted for 40 days. They would not let you in the door. So that's a massive part of our history that's just been, ignored and wiped out. And, they don't want us to know, how to cleanse ourselves, how to get rid of this stuff. And just quickly on the berries, that stuff's not bad. It's just bad when you've got parasites in there because it's giving them food. But when you're clean, it's it's good food.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. When you've refilled your digestive system with good bugs, because you're supposed to have some bacteria and things in there.
Yeah.
Not parasitic ones that are trying to mind control you.
Yeah. I was going to mention, I saw this video years ago of this guy who traveled through India and sort of Southeast Asia, and he actually ate a tapeworm before he went.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his theory was that he wouldn't get sick from the food because it was a certain, obviously a certain type of tapeworm that was. And he took this tapeworm and sort of went and ate all the, just like from the street and stuff in all these different countries, and never got sick. And he thought, so I mean, obviously there are some beneficial ones as well. So this is the thing. It seems like it's a natural occurrence that, again, like everything has been, warped and changed and sort of turned against us,
To suit them, yeah.
Which,
yeah.
So, okay, what are we up to? We fasting?
Yes. And if you are water fasting, you can do, if you want a little bit of something, but you don't want to actually eat, a great thing is lemon and olive oil water. If you take a whole organic lemon and just cut it into quarters, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now you have to check your olive oil because a lot of the olive oil out there is not olives.
Extra virgin.
Other things you don't want.
Extra virgin if you can get it.
Yeah. But as long as you have good water, organic lemons, and the good olive oil, you just put that all in a blender because you want the lemon oil from the rind of the lemon.
Okay, so the whole.
Yeah, because it increases your bile flow and boosts your lymphatic system and, helps your body to clear things out. Because when you're detoxing, your system can get overloaded really quick and surprise you because you won't be aware that you had that much in there.
Yes, well, a lot of people get pretty sick.
Yeah, so you got to be kind to your liver and try to do things like that will help it flush itself out. So, and obviously avoid anything acidic, so processed food, processed meat and dairy, alcohol, we already said, fried things. You want to avoid all of that because that,
pretty
not
much
only because it's
that promote to us as food. Yeah, avoid that.
Right. And baths are great for detox. And it doesn't. You can. I've got some great Dead Sea bath salts that I add to mine, but you can get Epsom salts. They're cheap. Just something with some magnesium to pull the toxins out through your skin. And one thing I learned the hard way about baths is I don't have like a whole house water filter or anything. I've got a filter on my shower to take the chlorine and everything out. I didn't have one in the bathtub, and I couldn't figure out why I felt horrible every time I took a bath. And I realized I was chlorine gassing myself.
Oh, because it's nice and hot and everything.
Because I take a really hot bath, and that just makes all of the chlorine come right up out of the water into your face. But there's a great, easy, cheap way to fix that, and it's vitamin C. Like I had a big bottle of chewable vitamin C that I found out is pretty much worthless for you to take orally. But if you smash it all up into a powder and pour it into just like a tablespoon into your bath water, it will neutralize the chlorine in about 5 minutes.
Wow. There you go.
So there you go.
Yeah, because I love to do that. We hear all this story of, the bars and the bathhouses and all this and sweat lodges, but, you go into a pool today and you open the door and the chlorine just smacks you in the face.
Yeah, I can't breathe that. Yeah.
And then they got people, sitting in their saunas and they're going there for health. Oh, this is good for me. And they're going and sitting in the sauna, breathing in chemicals and.
Yeah, it's not going to help you unless you can mitigate that chlorine.
So.
And grounding, obviously.
Do you know if you chew, if you have like a vitamin C tablet in your mouth, will that help? Like if you're sitting in a sauna, do you know?
I don't think so, because
Yeah,
what
it's
I
more to
read
do
is
with the molecular. Yeah.
ascorbic acid, and ascorbic acid really doesn't help you orally, but somehow it neutralizes the chlorine when it
At a
interacts.
molecular level, yeah. Cool.
Yes. So.
Stay away from those places. I'll make you wear a mask anyway, so it's all gone.
Oh my gosh. Like swimming or sit in a sauna? That would be weird.
I know. Wouldn't surprise me, no.
Yeah. Well, and then you're getting the chlorine all over your skin and everything too. And
the whole, face thing is a
right.
good point too, because people, they're just breathing in the stuff. So, I mean, you're not getting rid of anything if you got one of them on your face. No way you're getting rid of parasites. You're just breathing them back in again.
Right.
And letting them breed and change while they're in that thing on your face.
Yeah,
Well, what they're
there
doing.
were some parents that were concerned about it because their kids were having to wear them at school. So they sent a bunch for testing to a lab after they wore them for one day. And they found, you wouldn't believe what they found in there. They found strep, they found E. coli, they found all the things that your body naturally just breathes out.
Rid of.
Gets stuck in there and fast.
Yeah, and it's a breeding ground, so it can multiply and you breathe it back in. So you're just making the problem worse.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. So, and then grounding. You and Callum did this fabulous video on grounding a while ago, or earthing, whatever you want to call it. And so that's easy. Just take your shoes off and go walk in the grass or the dirt or the beach. Yep. Whatever.
Soles for a reason, and heels as well, right?
Yeah, and I know it's cold where you are now, or people who live in a city, they might be like, well, where am I going to do that? That's too complicated. I got to, go far away. Have you seen the tethers? They have.
No, I thought you were going to bring out an earthing mat or something. No, why not?
Oh, yeah, no, I know there's mats and there's even sheets now that you can buy, but I've got this handy little stretchy thing. You can just put it on your arm or your leg, and it got a big long cord, and then it just plugs into the grounding hole on your outlet.
Oh.
And
which goes straight into the ground.
Right. So I started using that when I was sleeping because I was having a lot of trouble sleeping, and that helped a lot. And it's really nice. It's a real stretchy cord, so it doesn't, get in your way because I flip flop all over the place.
So it just goes into your like wall socket, but just into the bottom grounding plug, not the
grounding hole. Yeah, the mouth of the little happy face. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a clever invention too, isn't it?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought
I thought so too.
That is good. Yeah,
because there are times when you just can't get outside, due to the weather or wherever you are,
And people who are, living in apartment buildings and like, sort of mass, where there's lots of houses and not much nature, it's a great way to, get access to because there's a lot of information down there, Apparently the trees are bringing it up and talking to people.
The trees are all, they're all underneath you talking to each other. Yep.
Exactly.
And so let's see. And we talked about borax. Another cheap one is baking soda. That will raise your pH, which oxygenates your cells, makes the parasites mad. And breathing, exercise. Oh, dry brushing. This is for your lymph system. This is a dry brush, just kind of feels like a shoe shine brush. Yeah. And this is something that they tell cancer patients about to keep their lymphatic system flowing. And what you do is it's kind of prickly, but I do this before I take a bath or a shower, but a lot of people like to do it every day. But you just start at your fingers and toes and just brush around and work your way up. You want everything going toward the heart. Okay. So, and especially where lymph glands are, like under your arms, and that just keeps everything moving and sloughs off dead skin cells, which is nice.
There you go. Which is a good thing to do anyway. Just the kids used to spend a lot of time on their skin and cleansing it and washing it, and they'd wear chalk and different powders and things on it.
And this, now don't get what you probably know as turpentine, but this is pure gum turpentine from pine trees made here in Georgia. If you can find a good source like that wherever you are, I haven't tried it yet because I just got it, but it supposedly cures everything. You know, and it's an old folk remedy for, you know, if you've got gout, take this. If you got, you know,
So
pretty much
just
any.
topically, obviously.
No, actually, you
What?
can
Be
ingest it.
serious?
Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? So don't get the turpentine in the store because that's petroleum.
Exactly.
That's not
Yeah.
anything from a plant. These are from happy pine trees who want to heal you.
So what is turpentine then? Because I mean, I know it was an old fuel, but yeah, do you know what it is? I didn't know it was curative.
It comes from pine resin, and I'm not sure what the process is. On the website of the place I got it, it tells you all about that if you want, and I can send you that link. And also, I have a link for how to take it, how, you know, because you can't take it for more than a few days at a time. You know, you want to space it out so you don't shock your system.
Well, I mean, pine trees, you know, that is a curative thing. You know, there's pine needle teas and things that people have and all. I mean, this is the thing, though, you know, we're so removed, aren't we? Like, I have to ask, where does turpentine come from? And it comes from a tree. I would not.
The turpentine that you know to wash your paintbrushes with comes from petroleum. It's a petroleum product.
Exactly.
So,
and it was the same with methylated spirits. That's still methylated spirits, but they add petrol to it just to make it poisonous and you know, bad for you. Yeah. And so you can't, I think, burn it in, you know, indoor heaters and all this kind of stuff. And but they say, oh no, they tell you, oh no, it's because people were drinking it because it was cheap alcohol. And it's like, really? Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. I don't believe that.
Right. I'm glad you said methylation though, because that's something people might want to check. There is a fairly common gene, they call it a gene mutation, but it's really a gene variant called the MTHFR gene mutation. And what it does basically is it messes with your methylation system and therefore prevents your body from being able to detox. So if you have this and you don't know it and you try to detox, you'll pull things out of your cells and they'll have nowhere to go. Your liver and your kidneys will freak out, and because they just have to recycle it. And so
and that's hives, I guess, and all that kind of stuff, right?
What?
Does that like create hives and things like that when people get?
Yeah, you would have, because your body would be, it would try to push it out of your skin, or it would try other ways to try to
get rid of
deal with all the poisons you just pulled out of your cells. So definitely a good thing. Easy to fix. I have it, and you just need to make sure you get good quality B vitamins, because the B vitamins are what mitigate that, and stay away from folic acid. Now they add folic acid to everything now. You know, all the cereals and breads and all those, you know, because they say pregnant women need it. But no, what you want is folate, which is the same B vitamin, but in a different form that isn't going to give you a heart attack, because that's what happens if you take folic acid and you have this gene mutation, is it builds up homocysteine, which wrecks your heart.
And just as a note there, the name should tell you something, guys. Acid, don't take anything with acid in the name. You need to be alkaline. Acid is bad. Yeah.
I have a Kangen water machine, which is great because they're really expensive. And so I put it off for a long time. But then I was buying 5-gallon jugs of water every other day. It paid for itself in a year. So and it's great because I can set the pH from 2.5 for cleaning to 6.0. They call beauty water. So you put it on your face.
Okay, I didn't know you could do all that.
Yeah, and then then clean water for like babies or medicine. So because if you have a higher pH, it will break down the medicine faster, and it might be quicker than you want it to in your body. You know, but then I can set the Kangen water to 8.5, 9, or 9.5.
And so 7 is neutral. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, and
anything below that is acidic, and anything above that
and
is alkaline. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then the higher pHs are what you want to wash your vegetables and things in, because that will pull all whatever's sticking to it off of your veggies. Even if they're organic, you still want to wash them.
Which is another thing that, oh God, we're just so dumb, aren't we? Like they tell us, you wash your vegetables, and it's literally, it's just to get the dirt off it. But really, it can be used to pull out all the toxins and crap as well at the same time. Right. It's, God.
Yeah, and then you can use it, if you're steaming your vegetables, I use that water, and then I don't have to worry about anything toxic steaming up in my broccoli. Or
because all you're going to do, is infuse all those chemicals into your food.
Right. Mm. Yep. And I've heard so much. And I've heard good things about silica. Haven't tried it yet, but orthosalicic acid or silicic acid, that's what it is. Orthosilicic acid. Yes. You can get pretty easily, and that will grab heavy metals. I also just got this nifty thing to try, which is a cellular detox with zeolites in it, which also is supposed to be one of the things that can grab heavy metals. Oh. And again, one of the little more expensive things, but I'm kind of stocking up on a different bunch of things.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that too. It's like, oh God, how long until we can't get this? Quick buy.
Right. Well, that's what I'm thinking as well. I'll just get some now, and then I'll have it.
So that has the silica. Was it silica you said? Is that right?
This has zeolites in it,
zeolite, not zealot. Zeolite.
Right. No. And then the ivermectin I have not tried, but the last full moon, I think I was telling you, I got some ivermectin, which is one of those things they tell you, oh no, you can't have that, right? But if you buy it with a horse on the front,
you can have it.
It's a horse dewormer, but it's safe for humans. Don't worry. Wow. Comes in a great tube, and this was like $10, and it's enough for a 1,200-pound horse. So most of us aren't 1,200 pounds. So this will last, quite a few doses. And then it tastes terrible. So you just,
have a glass of something to swig it down with. There you go, guys. Just identify as a horse and you can be healthy.
Yeah. I did it the last full moon and it did some things. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, I just got that on Amazon.
It's just, it just sort of really goes to show the point, isn't it? Because, people will have these race horses that can make them millions of dollars, and they'll give them all this stuff, and which shows they know about it. But then for the humans, for the chattel, no, sorry, that's off limits.
Right. Yeah, all the animals can have it. All the animals that are able to manufacture their own vitamin C, unlike us, we don't get anything, and so we're a mess.
That's so weird, isn't it, that we can't produce vitamin C, but yet we need it to live healthily.
Right.
It's like there's this episode in Star Trek, and I can't remember the race, but there's a race of people, and they're a created race, and they've got this thing. It's like a drug. It's called the White, and it's just this drug but they have to have it or they die, and that's how they're kept in control. If you know what I mean. That they've got to always come back and have access to the white, and because they've been made genetically with that out of their system, so they have to go back to the control.
Yeah, Star Trek tell us some stuff in there.
It sure does.
And hydroxychloroquine is another one that will kill parasites. Hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and of course that was what they banned recently. And now doctors that were able to prescribe it before can't anymore.
And this is the thing, like there's that quote, if it's not simple, it's not the truth. Pretty much everything you've mentioned today is just a simple, organic, natural base element or whatever. Everything that, the so-called experts want to give you, they are concoctions. They're just these mixtures of God knows what. They can't tell you what, it's kind of like the whole food thing, right? Eat whole foods, like an apple is a whole food. It's an apple, right? It's an apple. It's not all this stuff. Same with your medicine. Same with your health. Whole. One thing that you can identify, because if you have 100 things in you, how can you identify which one of those is creating the response that's coming out? You can't really.
Right.
If it's one thing, you can go, okay, it does this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just blinding us with their BS, isn't it? And this is the thing. It's like, oh no, well, you don't understand it because you're not smart, you're not educated, you don't have these letters behind your name.
Not a doctor, right?
Yeah, leave it up to us. We're the experts. Just line up and let me shove this in your arm. It'll be good.
Right. Well, and for a long time, people believe that. Like my parents' generation, there's no telling them anything unless their doctor says so. And so that programming worked because
Very well, didn't it? And I mean, and that whole paradigm's only 100 years old anyway.
Right. It is.
This whole, the modern allopathy sort of medicine, 100 years old, maybe 120. And yes, they brought it in. Have a look. Allopathy, guess we brought that one in.
Oh yeah, who built all the medical schools? Yeah, we know.
We know.
But
same people are trying to do it to us now.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same.
Same family.
Mm-hmm. And so if you're trying any of these things to get rid of your parasites, one thing you definitely want to also do at the same time, not like spaced apart during the day, so you don't take them actually together, because then they can counteract each other. But you want to take binders, because you're going to be releasing all kinds of stuff into your system, and these will help to grab it and get it out instead of it being recycled. So things like psyllium, which you can just get in a bag, and again, don't take much. Yeah. Did I bring something here? Nope, I didn't, I guess. But yeah, it's easy to find. Just make sure I get organic so that there's not any pesticides or anything on it. And just put just a heaping teaspoon, but you don't want to do too much, because if you start with too much, you think, oh, I'm going to grab everything, and you take a giant heap of it, it can get stuck. And you don't want that.
Okay.
So you got to ease into all this stuff.
So what is psyllium? Like a grain, like a grass?
It's a husk of I think a grain or grass. Yeah, because it's just the husks, and they're just
grow it as well,
ground into a powder, and they're not digestible. So they just grab onto things that are hanging around.
Yeah. They basically just go through you, grab stuff, and go straight out again.
Right. So they keep everything moving along, which is what you want, especially when you're detox.
So it's like what they used to call roughage, right?
Yes, exactly. Like if you're eating whole fruits, you're getting a lot of that naturally. But sometimes, if you're trying to avoid the fruits for a while, then this is something you want to have. And you can take activated charcoal.
Yes.
Especially if you're feeling queasy or something doesn't sit right that you ate, activated charcoal is great. It will suck it right up and make you feel better.
Yep.
And another one I like that was recommended by an integrative doctor that I was seeing for a while is GI Detox, and that has a combination of things. It's got some charcoal. It's also got some bentonite clay.
Yep.
And other things that grab stuff you don't want. And chlorella, which is just a green algae. You can get it in capsules, or you can get it in a powder, mix it in some water or a drink. Try to avoid juice, because juice is really highly concentrated sugar. So you want to stay away from the fruit juice.
Yeah,
for the lemon
juices that you buy as well when you do. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Better cold press, but
filtered and processed and heated
while you're detoxing.
Yeah, and there's also this you need a prescription for, but it's called cholestyramine, and normally it's prescribed to lower your cholesterol, which I don't know why they do that, because cholesterol is good, you need it. But an off-label use for cholestyramine, and pretty much the only thing, if you have mold toxicity, a mold illness where you've lived somewhere or been around, you've been in a moldy building, and you've got molds all over in your body, this will grab it. And it's one of the few things. It's like the first step well, the first step is get out of the moldy building. Second step is take the cholestyramine, but it needs to be prescribed. So you don't have a doctor who's literate in all of those kinds of things. You might have to do it.
95%.
But,
Yeah.
but it can be done, and it does help. But you want to make sure that you're taking a lot of omega-3
Fatty
fat
acids.
when you take it, because it's a fat grabber. So you want to make sure you're replacing those fats.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll grab the fats because toxins are held in your fats.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if you're getting rid of the yucky fat, you want to replace it with the good fat that your body needs to build back better.
And that's an interesting point too, like that all these toxins are held in fats, I mean, that's how many people go, oh, I'm going to get fit, and they go for it, and then their body just goes, no, we're not doing this. Sorry.
Right, because it overloads it right away. Yeah, and then you give up because you feel horrible.
Is it also a response from parasites saying, hang on, we need this environment or we can't multiply? You ain't exercising. That
too. Yeah, a little bit more of that mind control, and if you're exercising, you're probably breathing, which they don't like either. And
exactly. Yeah.
All of those things.
So this is what everyone's been saying for the last year is we get all this advice, but really, guys, get out. The sun will give you vitamin D. If you don't have shoes on, you'll ground. Walk around, you'll get oxygen. And a bit of healthy, fresh, whole foods, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you need. And obviously, if you want to detox, there's extra things. But as far as just everyday natural health, that's it. You don't need any other.
It'll make a huge difference. Yeah. And then just supporting your liver with. There's all kinds of teas: dandelion tea, milk thistle, turmeric, peppermint. Those all will support your system as you're detoxing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then just make sure. And if you're eating lots of green things, you'll be getting all the right kinds of vitamins. You'll be getting enough iodine. You'll be getting enough,
green
vitamins,
vegetables. Yeah, they got everything pretty much.
Yep.
Look at cows and bull. Well, look at a bull. All it eats is grass.
That's true. Yep.
So there you go. Wow. All right. Thank you, Inara. So we'll leave links below to no doubt we'll try and get some together so you can go and check some information out. But just remember we've all got three bodies. We're not just these physical things. We've got a physical body, we've got a mental body, and a spiritual body, and we have to look after all three. And you can affect the physical body, and that'll affect the other ones. Or you can do it the other way around, but because we're so physical, it's easier at the moment to affect the physical body, and that helps sort of everything else on the way up. So
that'll send you in the right direction. Definitely.
Exactly. So wow, mind blown. Lots of info for you there, guys. And tips on how to obviously get rid of these parasites, because we know that's what they are. So there you go. Thank you, Inara, for your wisdom.
Thank you. I hope that was helpful.
No, that was really good. Yeah. And I guess I better let you get to bed. It's 11:30 there now.
Oh goodness, yeah, I guess it is. Time for bed.
Time for bed. There you go. All right. Well, dream well. Nice to talk to you, and I'll talk again soon.
Okay. Bye.
See ya. Bye.